So how did you get into the Japanese music scene as a foreigner?
It's kind of using the same method I've always used when moving around in the States. You know, it was all about finding the collective, going to that event, and one or two people shake loose that, you know, you can follow that up. And from that, you might meet another person that's exactly like aligning with what you want to do.
And then how did you like book your first show when you came out?
Now, how to book a show in Japan, that is something that is a little bit different because on the artist side, you have to understand, even if you're like kind of a midway guy in America and Japan, no one knows who you are at all, right? And so I think the wise thing to do, what's worked for me, is reaching out to, the first thing I did was, I was like, I know that I want to get into the scene, but how do I don't speak any Japanese. I need to find, you know, people who are into what I'm into. So I was searching, it's too broad of a subject to Google. So I was looking for, you know, Facebook, Instagram, all these groups. So I came across, you know, Flyer Miles J, AKA MJ the Sensei. And it turned out that he was connected to a whole, you know, group of people that honestly, to this day, it helped me get to where I am to this point right now. So I think, you know, if you're wanting to come over here and make some money and make some noise and no one knows who you are, you got to kind of level up in that. So I think you have to be willing to work for free. And I think working with collectives as opposed to just random artists is better because they have the infrastructure. And with this infrastructure, they can find ways to incorporate you into it and continue to use you, and you can kind of build that relationship stronger. It may be someone else in that collective that can help you. I'm gonna go ahead and give you the gems and give them the gems right now. I'm gonna go ahead and give them, MJ the Sensei. I'm gonna go ahead and give him A Valley. I'm gonna go ahead and give him Crafty Kid. I'm gonna go ahead and give him J Rovia. Contact those people, hit those dudes up. Not only are they stand-up, genuine artists and genuine dudes, they're also highly connected in the industry, and they've also very accomplished, talented musicians as well. So, you know, that's the game in a nutshell right there. I'm just giving it to you all in one play and telling you how to run it up, especially if you don't speak Japanese. These guys are fluent. So if you need to get in the door with other people and need to do anything and run that intro, you know, if they like you and they rock with you, of course they're gonna make that thing, you know, go. So yeah.
All right, man. So you've been here for 4 years, right? That's a long time. Like, tell the people how you actually moved to Japan.
How I did it was through teaching English, right? That's how a lot of people get here. Is whether you love it or you don't love it, whether you're passionate about it or you're not. It's the first route for many people.
As a musician, how did you weave your way into the Japanese music scene?
It depends on who you are, and I think it's not too dissimilar from networking in any other in America, in the States, right? Like I found MJ the Sensei through a Black Lives Matter thing. And I was like, who is this guy? Oh, okay, looks like he has a lot of similarities. He's connected to a whole group of rappers and producers and different people that, you know, I'm able to now produce for because they're able to see what I do and vice versa. And internationally, things move a little bit freer and a little more, let's say, friendly because they're trying to find, you know, a balance in their country that's not their own. So it's a little easier to, everyone's a little more accepting and like willing to work as far as that goes.
Yeah. So once you reached out, like, how did he like put you on to like shows, and how did you guys, you know, end up booking shows and end up producing? How did all that start?
I kind of always had an intent and I was ready. As soon as I came in, I was like, let me produce these beats for you. So let me produce, I want to get down with you, I'll rap with you, you know, let me get into the scene with you. And they were looking for the same thing. Like I said, in the international world, everyone, especially as an artist, the scene's a lot smaller than you realize. So everyone's primarily looking for the same things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What was it like? Talk about your first show. Like, how was that doing like your first show in Japan?
Oh man, first show was bananas. It was at Tokyo Love Hotels, is where artists kind of, you know, pop their cherry, whatever, their initiation. Mm-hmm. But it was a blast. Like it was very much like the definition of like what I visioned it. It was packed, completely packed out, completely sold out, if that counts. But it's a free show, and we were performing in the middle, and there's just a giant crowd, cameras and brands and everybody all around us, and it was rocking out with, you know, the hilt, that collective that, you know, ended up forming after I met MJ the Sensei. And that was our first show, and it was downtown in Shibuya. So instantly, that's the cool thing. Instantly, when you perform out there, you've already made it. But I think that's the part of like your journey here as a musician, as like you're realizing, all right, I got to monetize this. I've done a lot of free stuff, done a lot of like promo, and it's great. It's helped to get me here, but now it's time to turn it into a business. And I think this, on the international foreign side, is where a lot of people have the turning it over is the hard part, right? Because everyone knows you as like, this is a guy, he's down for anything. But when he flips over, it's like a new way to look at you and perceive you, especially foreigner, as someone who's Japanese looking at you. It's a different way to perceive you.
Yeah.
As a businessman.
How is it navigating the music scene? Like, for example, let's say someone is looking to come over here and they're already pretty established back home, but they don't speak Japanese. Like, how is it like being an artist, like, and not being able to speak Japanese? Like, what is that like?
I think that's all on your brand and kind of what you want to do. So if your brand, if let's say you do know more Japanese, your brand might lean more on that. And your brand what might get you in rooms more is being a translator for artists that are coming in and for musicians that are coming in and connecting them to these Japanese brands. That's what, you know, if you have that, it's a blessing. It's not to downside your artistry, but it's to say your other skills right now in Japan are more marketable and more valuable. Now, if you don't speak Japanese like myself, I'm, you know, conversational, chill conversational at best, right? And or able enough to run a recording session at the most. You know, music's a little one of those things. But ultimately for me, because I don't pander and because I am fully, you know, this is what I am. I'm an artist from America. I do appreciate other sounds and other cultures. I integrate them into my music, but it's not primarily focused on the Japanese audience at all, really. You know, all my music is in English. You know, the sonics are different, obviously. But because I never broke away from that, that's how I get booked for jobs and shows now. Because they know when they want that American sound or that big American this or that, they go to me. Because they know who I am, they know what I do. So it makes it really easy for them to say, and then once you go there and do that for them, and even surprising that you can do more, then they kind of get a better idea of who you are. And then you do too, and you can, you know, you build your business around that. If there's one thing that I can tell you ultimately is being yourself and do not, just be yourself. If you the anime kid that grew up on it and you fucking love it and you absolutely love it, be that guy. Rap about it, do whatever you, and I think you will get whatever you expect to get in return, right? And so that's the mindset I use with that. So if you are going heavy Japanese and you do want to be heavily ingrained into the culture, that's the return you're going to get. But I think you also at the same time have to understand that if your intent is to go all the way in here to a non-English speaking place, then what's going out may not reach so far. But I think it's ultimately because it's hard for English speakers to catch on to it and really understand it. So in a sense, you're marketing within this country. And if you're gonna market within this country and you're not necessarily even half Japanese or anything or mix, you know, you do have value, but you know, you really got to speak the language, and it would be no different than living in America. You got to speak English in an interview. I think just that awareness is really going to help you be successful, because a lot of people come in, expect, you know, armed to the teeth with Japanese knowledge. It doesn't make it out of it's not what they deem or think it to be. But I think a lot of that is just having the expectation of what it is. And I think the same for the opposite, you know, coming here and expecting, you know, to blast off to every other country. These people here want to listen to your music. Japanese people want to listen to your music. So you do honestly have to understand that, at least. And I think understanding that, whether you do it or don't, you know, it's going to help you be successful, because if you understand that, then you understand what they want from you. You can build your entire enterprise and empire here out of that you got to build an entity around you. And this is an indie scene and I'm giving more than I should, but there's an indie scene coming here. And for the indie scene to come here, anywhere, it has to be international, because it has to have different sounds coming in. And so now it's coming. And as a foreigner, that's armed with the knowledge that, okay, this is the skills that they desire from me. Now, I also am from this country, and I know other people desire to do what I would like to do as well. So how do I tie that all together? Okay, maybe I invite them in, and I have the plug because I speak fluent Japanese, or I know the guy who speaks fluent Japanese. So now I have a little team. That's how you monetize it. But again, it comes down to get into the business side of it, taking your ego a little bit out of it, a little bit, understanding this is what is marketable. So once you understand and see that, then I think what you're doing makes more sense to everyone else too, because then they can be like, oh, okay, if I'm coming to Japan, I got a show, and I'm from the UK, I'm gonna hit up Crafty Kid. Easy. If I'm a rapper, I'm gonna hit up NJ the Sensei, and I'm from the States, I'm gonna hit up MJ the Sensei, I'm gonna hit up A Valley, I'm gonna hit up, you know, if I'm from Africa, I'm gonna hit up J-Ro. I'm just gonna hit up one of these dudes, and I know for a fact that there's gonna be fruition, there's gonna be a show, something, whatever out of it. So
how do you start to like branch out? You feel like, okay, I'm serious now, I want to do the music. Like, how do you start to monetize and expand yourself a little bit more? Like, would it be posting more on social media? You know, like, what does that look like?
Just being extraordinarily honest about what you do and understanding is it value, there is value for it here, but understanding how that is perceived, and just really, I think that between Japan and a lot of the countries, I think that's the thing, is just understanding what do they value from me. And so I think a lot of times it's unbeknownst to you until you find out. Anytime I go into a room in Japan, I ask just some basic questions. And I said, how did you guys find me? And they said, oh, through your Instagram and through your Spotify. And we were looking for this exact type of rapper. A lot of people think they're looking for an American style rapper with XYZ. A lot of people think that all these producers at this high level strictly listen to Japanese music and strictly listen to, you know, J-pop, K-pop. But in actuality, they're listening to Drake, listening to Future. That's who they're listening to. So if that is where you want to be, and you want to be in those rooms, and your music has to align with that, what it comes down to. And this, I love that. That's what I love about making music, is not just one style of rap. So if that's not you, that's okay. There's other ways, like I said, building your infrastructure around who you are. And if you know all the, where to record, where to play, you know all that side, then it's just connecting those two. So that's how you would brand it. And again, you're using the fact that you know the culture. That's what you're leveraging. I'm leveraging the fact that I'm on the music. Like I said, I'm in operations. I prefer grinding on the music, you know, engineering, producing, whatever it have. It requires less, you know, language. Music, these things, they're not as language based, you know. Louder, quieter, you know, things like this. These are basic things, you know, basic kind of one word verbs that are really easy to understand.
What about building like an online presence? Like, what is like, how can someone go about building that online infrastructure? What does that look like?
It's used the way that the culture uses it, right? But there's a lot of different people coming from outside where, you know, the European TikTokers are coming here and they're figuring out their little games and stuff. But ultimately, I think when you have a website here, you're gonna make it that much easier for foreigners to find you, right? You're making it that much easier for because you gotta understand, now everyone's wanting to come here to shoot things, to record things, to do things, right? And if they wanna do that and they don't have any access, surprising to you, you may be that access. They may, if you were you might be a little dude but you may know every single person in Shonan, every producer and hip hop beat maker in Shonan, and they wanna shoot a skate video and have all that stuff set up, and you know everybody from jump. It's done. You have to switch your mind from, I'm not a rapper for this job, this is a job, I'm now like a producer of a production, whatever it may be. So I think having your website, in short, is allowing people to see what you do, because like I said out here, if they can't visually see or hear what it is you do, they don't know that you do it. And from there, it's your job as an artist to understand when to figure out, okay, we need to elevate this. We've done a lot at this rate, too long. And so it's your job to figure out when to take it to the next step, when to break on your own. And then that's what DASgood Music can help you with as well. So if you choose that, you know, that's what we do. So
yeah, that's good that you said website, because like, you know, a lot of, let's say artists, you know, they think just having a social media is enough, right? They think, oh, I have an Instagram, I'm online, right? But I think when you're, you know, when you consider yourself a professional and you want to work with, you know, big companies, they're looking for, you know, do you have basic stuff like a business card?
Right.
You know, do you have a website? Is there a phone number where I can contact you? Right. You know what I mean? So even like being on the professional tip, like that's really good, you know, having a website. Talk about like your website, like talk about DASgood Music and like some of the things that have come about, you know, having a website, you know.
Basically what you're trying to find out first is who your customers, where they're coming from, how are they hearing about you, right? The general, what is their age? And then once you kind of have an idea of who exactly you're talking to, you know, where they're coming from, then you have, okay, I need a Patreon as well to integrate into this website, because I know I have this amount of supporters that want to support me in this way. I need to, and that's a whole business that you scale, right? And a YouTube, that's a whole business you scale. Each thing that you decide to go down is something you scale, but it's based off of information you have from the website. It's based off the information of, okay, everyone's coming from Google, everyone's coming from YouTube, everyone's coming from TikTok, wherever they're coming from. You got to figure that out, and then that's going to tell you what kind of content or where to kind of go next, because that's what you're figuring out. You don't exactly know. No one knows 100%. You know, we're still trying to figure all that stuff out. You know, the labels, they have that information because they have three or maybe just one big nerd looking at a data spreadsheet all day telling you, hey, if you target 90 ads at Mexico City, when you go there on tour, you're going to sell the fuck out. You're going to completely sell out. It's going to be huge. Or let's flip it to what we're talking about now. It's a little bit harder, but let's say the statistics show Kyoto, Japan. Dang, you have, for whatever reason, there's a little pocket there. I need to find somebody there, and I need to figure out how to set a show there, because I know I can make a little bit of change there and travel there. So
yeah, talk about like, so I know on DASgood Music, when we go there, you have like DASgood Tech. Like, tell us about what DASgood Tech is.
Yeah, so on the services page, you can find DASgood Technology or digital marketing. It's a startup. So, and some people are like, oh, well, what's that? But it's a startup only because at this point, after doing, you know, the tech side and working at several actual startups and understanding how they work, it's like, okay, you're gonna need to pivot at some point. And that's why we're calling it a startup, because I know I want the technology to help musicians, right? But the technology itself may have more applications helping entrepreneurs, music label owners. It may have better implications for those people. So that's why it's still a startup, because it doesn't know exactly who it's going to help first. But it's definitely starting off with helping you get your website, building your landing page, building your portfolio. So these are the basic steps. And then if you want to get people there, that's the extra gems that we provide on the back end. That's like, okay, you know, I want XYZ and XYZ. I want to I have a Bandcamp, Javon, and I want a lot of sales through my Bandcamp. Okay, let's integrate that into your website. Let's run as many things or let's use creative marketing and figure out how to drive traffic there, in a sense. So, but you know, you invest in where you think is necessary. And so I think that's a crucial key part there.
If you go on the website, where exactly is it that we can find more information about getting a website?
Yeah, so if you want to go to DASgoodmusic.com, go click services. On the services page, you will see digital marketing. There, you will see the early onboarding. It's big blue letters. Click the early onboarding, and from there you can get some templates. We're still working on a templates page to get you guys, so you guys can see a little bit more of, pick a template to make it easier for you. A lot of the artists don't know what they want a website to look like, so give us some time on that. And yeah, ultimately you can see what is offered. There's 3 different tiers. The prices will not stay like this for long, so I think I'm going to switch this to dollars for the sake of this conversation, because I'm speaking in English. $80 for a portfolio or a landing page, 1-page landing page, 3-page website, around $150. You know, any more than that, around 6-7 pages website, that's going to run you around $300.
If they have any more questions, they can probably just hit you up, but I think we gave them enough game.
We gave you some game, bro. We gave you quite a bit of game. Okay. You guys have any questions, feel free to hit the comment section. We're down to answer any questions that you have. If you're looking for help, resources, and you're just moving out to Japan, you can hit myself up at Monsieur Jovoni. We'll put that up there, and you can hit at Neil Humphrey. You can hit him up as well. And we are 2 resources that you got. Also, rewind those video back for the resources that I gave you about A Valley MJ, how to book your first show here. Boom.
Cool. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. All right. Good.
Yes, sir. Yeah.